When you're involved in a confrontation with another human being, possibly if they're imposing it on you and you're not imposing it on them, it's happened to me quite a bit. There's a fluctuation of your nonverbal communication because they're aware that they are putting themselves in danger, because human beings are extremely dangerous. And if they are pursuing a human being, they're aware that they're putting themselves in danger. And so there's a fluctuation of expectations as their mental resources go to calculating various scenarios depending on your movement. And they're not stupid. I'm not giving out information on how to trick people. This is very direct. That when you focus your intentions and control what's going on in your heart to cast out all fear and cast out anxiety and cast out alternative actions, alternative motives, be single-minded, and are focused solely on doing what Yeshua said, to bless them that curse you and pray for them that despitefully use you. And also focus, and that's abstract, right? So you want to be able to be in tune as possible with who they are, try to develop an understanding of who they are as quickly as possible. Your mind's very fast. All you really need to do is focus on it. You're already in a tense situation. You already have adrenaline going. You really just need to focus on figuring out who they are, figuring out how can you best help them and get them on the right track as quickly as possible. Now, there are some tricks. When I was working at a gas station, there's things where you're not really it's still not tricking them. Like, don't think of it as tricking them, because that's going to become an intent, and that's going to get communicated in your body language, and that is, they're going to psychically pick up on it, right? And then that's going to create a focus between you and them that you're going to be in an altercation. So don't do that. Okay? So let's say someone's trying to rob you, right? And they come into the store. Your hairs could stand on end. And you know that the energy in the room shifts, and ultradian rhythms shift, and so you know that something is happening. Now, you could basically be scared and kind of let this energy lead, and you're responding to that. But what you could do instead is break it up. So I did things like, I could sense that they were working up the nerve to rob me as we were, handling the transaction. And so I keep making eye contact with them and smiling with my eyes. And when I hand them the change, I'm handing them, it's like I'm cutting into the energy and I'm handing them something completely different, a completely different pattern than what's going on in the situation. And I'm doing it without fear, right? Straightforward, knowing that I'm in control of the situation. It breaks up their patterns. They almost forget what they're doing. This one guy basically looked like he just forgot why he was there. Like he's just, and because we're breaking up these biological rhythms, then he left, right? And so you can look at this situation. If you're constantly in intense situations, you can keep doing this over and over and over again, and communicating with people, becoming people's friends, looking for places where you can become friends, talk to Jesus in them, right? So just assume Jesus is there. Jesus says, without me you can do nothing. I take that very literally because the other things that are said in the Bible. So what we do is, without fear, without hysteria and screaming as though, you have an organism in front of you. You have like a living biological organism, and we're working with things going on in their biology, right? So talk to them as though they were Jesus. Do it kind of normally, right? Keep talking to them, but the Bible says not to speak to the dead. Jesus says, let the dead bury their own dead. In Torah, It talks about not speaking to the dead. This ties into the parable of the wheat and tares, and it ties into the parable of the sower that went out to go sow good seed. So what you're trying to do is you're trying to only talk to the wheat and people. It is there. Basically, you're not trying to trick them. Once again, I want to emphasize that you're not trying to trick them. You're trying to think critically about the situation, have more compassion and openness towards them than you have giving instructions on what we should do and where you should go, even though you may be extremely heightened in fear and you know a lot of things are trying to take over in your mind at one time, tell you what to do. You really need to focus on developing a relationship with them and openness with them and making them feel comfortable, become an asset. Because essentially, would you do this to people, whatever they're doing? Would you do this? If the answer is no, you know something that they don't. You may know a lot of things that they don't. So what the goal is to try to do is to bring them under your wing and not position yourself as someone that's their authority, but positioning someone as somebody that is their like a friend, like a peer, right? It has to be done naturally. It has to be done without malice. It has to be done without double-mindedness. You really just need to kind of calm yourself about the situation and start thinking about normal things that people need. Why are they there? Where is their background from? What is the way that they think? What are their interests? Right? And see where things went wrong gradually and try to move the situation to something where you have a mutually beneficial relationship with them. So